when I released to beloved Jesus the Lord's Prayer, there was given to him, through the action of the Father consciousness that I bore, one version for the multitudes and another for the disciples. The initiation of the disciples and the holy women into the knowledge of the I Am consciousness, that state of being which was revealed to Moses in the flaming bush that burned but was not consumed. That revelation was the initiation of the sacred fire and the awareness of the God potential of the devotee. The multitudes could not understand that potential, and therefore it was reserved for the elect, who had elected to follow the Christ, to be given that potential of the name of God, I Am. Dispensations over the last 100 years have afforded mankind at large with a knowledge of some of the greatest mysteries that have ever been released in the retreats of the Brotherhood. Do you know why this is so? It is because enough among mankind have passed the initiations of the sacred fire and of Maitreya, so that their victory could stand as the collateral of light for the masses. And therefore this day, through the teachings of the ascended masters released through the Summit Lighthouse and our devoted messengers, you have the opportunity to receive not only the teachings given in the retreats of the Brotherhood, heretofore reserved only for those who could make the journey and the trek through the astral plane to the seat of soul awareness. You can receive not only the teachings reserved for the elect, but also the initiations of the sacred fire. On the one hand, then, as you are God-taught, as you receive the rules of Maitreya, which are the rules of God, and as I perceive these are firmly rooted in consciousness, then I can come to you with those initiations, the passing of which depends upon your application of the rules that you have been taught. You see, the Lord has decreed that you shall not receive an initiation for which you have not been thoroughly prepared. There is then, in reality, no excuse for the failing of a test. But the greatest excuse which mankind hold up as excuse before the lords of karma is that they were caught off guard. They were not prepared. They were not ready. You see then that the motto of Saint Germain given to the Boy Scouts of America, along with the fleur-de-lis pattern of light, "Be prepared," is a motto to prepare young life for the initiations of the sacred fire. To initiate a soul, then, becomes the initiation of a master. For it is indeed a cosmic initiation for ascended masters angelic hosts to deliver the mandates of the Almighty to evolving souls, to nourish souls with love, with wisdom, to initiate them that they might be crowned with power. The statement of Jesus, victorious in his initiations, all power in heaven and in earth is given unto me. That is the statement of one who has passed the initiations of the sacred fire. And the testing is always threefold, involving surrender to the will of God, adherence to precepts of the law, and the ability to infuse wisdom and will with love. Maitreya demands balance. Without balance, you cannot become Christed ones, the fullness of the only begotten Son. You understand, then, that each plume of the three is a testing, is the fire of God. And thus, in the three-dimensional realm, you are required to focus the three aspects of God's consciousness. I come on a mission of initiation to try the souls of a continent, to see if they are able to rise 1 degree on the cosmic ladder. And the initiation is a heart initiation. Some of you have noted that the people of South America have a heart, a flame of love, of devotion and service, a kindling fire that would propel the entire hemisphere higher if it were linked to the action of the will of God and the wisdom that is held as a flame by the North American counterparts. Our desire is to see the flame of devotion transferred to the North Americans, the flame of wisdom and power action transferred to the South Americans. Therefore, we come to initiate each group, each evolution, each life wave, according to those elements in which they are found wanting. I pray then that you will keep the vigil as angels of initiation stand before every man, every woman, every child abiding in this hemisphere from this hour until the striking of the clock of the new year and the address of Gautama Buddha. I ask that you pray for mankind's alertness, for the alertness of a mighty people. For I tell you that all of this people once had great light, and that light, because of their failure to pass the initiations of the sacred fire, was stolen from them by the activities of the black magicians. And you know of the experience of the goddess of light, who had such high attainment, but in an unguarded moment, she was beset with the action and the curse of a black magician who encased her form, the lower portion thereof, in the body of a fish. And in that form she remained to serve for nearly 800 years, right here on the continent of South America. That was a period when the functions of the black magicians in their manipulation of physical substance had not received the staying hand of Almighty God, and that which they invoked on astral planes could become physical if those dwelling on the physical plane were not alert. And thus you see, after the fall of the Luciferians and the coming of the laggard races, the Satanist had a heyday, perverting the energies of the children of the mother. And they took the seed of the woman, and they took the seed of the divine man-child, and perverted the very matrices, helixes and cones, geometric forms that contained phohatic light, concentrated energies for the release of Christ's child and evolutions. And they impressed upon that light distortions, degradations, perversions, and densities. And therefore, you see that the goddess of light was not alone. The masses dwelling in this hemisphere during certain periods of Earth's history, which have not yet been probed by scientist or archaeologist. The masses were subjected to dark forces because of their grave neglect. They are off-guarded moments, for you see, when you have attainment in the light, the dark forces refuse to recognize that attainment. And unless you hourly affirm the I am presence of that attainment, unless you hourly guard that attainment and guard the light within the aura, while you are looking in another direction, the pickpockets of the astral hordes come, and they steal the wealth of abundance and of light. And if you are still burdened by mass ignorance, they even go further to superimpose upon you certain thought forms which you call mortal cursings that will control the release of light through your consciousness until such time as you stand exalted in the consciousness of the Christ and in his name challenge the perversions of the sacred fire. I come, then, to expose the lie, to show you that the incompleteness of the manifestation of the threefold flame in these several evolutions is not necessarily a lack of attainment, but a suppression of light's release by forms of witchcraft and black magic. The hierarchy of the god and goddess Meru and the members of their retreat work diligently for the freeing of the people from these forces and forms. If therefore you will in the name of the Christ invoke their aid this very night, you will find a freedom, a lightness, and an ability to expand the light from sun heart center that you have never known before. I draw a circle of fire around you. And that ring of fire is known as a ring past not. So long as you maintain the law of harmony and acknowledge harmony as the key in the center of the ring, nothing can pass that ring. When you break the harmony, you must quickly call upon the law of forgiveness, reestablish the tube of light, call to Archangel Michael for protection, and re-invoke the ring pass not from the heart of Maitreya. If you will remember this throughout this life, you can always have a focus of the ring pass not. But you see, in harmony released from within will immediately dissolve that ring. Therefore it must be re-invoked. Enter not into spirals of condemnation when you fail the initiations of harmony which I bring. but make a stern and a firm resolve that you can control the harmony of your life, and if necessary, implore the Almighty on bended knee to teach you how to restore and maintain that harmony that is so necessary for the victory of the Holy Spirit in this age. Re-establish then the divine tie, and apply the cycles of the flames of the hours by giving forth decrees to light and light's perfection. Become aware of cosmic timetables so that you can anticipate the cycles of cosmic initiation. Precious hearts, I have seen devotees of the sacred fire who are now ascended beings, counted among the ranks of the immortals. I have seen how, while unascended, they have been so zealous and so determined to pass initiations that a 24-hour cycle could not transpire without their having passed another test, and sometimes 3 and 4 and more. And I have had to assign a permanent angel of initiation to these devotees to keep up with the passing of the tests. And so you see, there is an acceleration, there is an increase that can come to you, whereby you can be transformed with each 24-hour cycle into a being of such light as you would scarcely recognize yourself in the cosmic mirror over the period of even a year of the former self and the new self that you shall be. Understand then that the earth moves into the hour, the decisive hour of victory. It is the 11th hour for mankind, and as psychics have predicted wars and rumors of wars, and others have predicted cataclysm and disturbances in the elemental kingdom, so, right in the very midst of all confusion, which is the perversion of the mother flame, you can pass the tests of the mother flame, of the feminine ray. I ask you this one thing, and that is, wherever you are, as the hour approaches 6 o'clock at eventide, will you think of the cosmic virgin? Will you think of Maitreya and ask that you might be the instrument for the initiation of the earth and the passing of that initiation by the earth of the mother flame? Understand then that that initiation will come as a great light of purity to adorn your soul. And as that light of purity increases to make you whole, you will then be aware of such conditions within your being and within the world at large, of indecision, of self-pity, remorse. And that activity of self-justification, which always desires to in some way defend the actions of the human consciousness. You will also notice that the greatest perversion of the mother flame is chaos and confusion. For in chaos and confusion, the Christ light does not manifest. You will also notice that at astral levels, the substance of density surrounding the white light of the mother is a jelly-like grayish mass that is put over the children of God and the sons and daughters of God as a force field, wet in nature, calculated to stand between the flame of man and the flame of God. I say, call for the sword of Maitreya and the banner of Maitreya in that hour, and rend that substance which is but a veil of illusion, in the name of the Christ. I shall intensify now the fires of my heart for the burning up of that jelly-like substance, that astral substance, that is not native to your identity, yet that clings to the very pores of your skin. Burn through, dissolved by the action of the sacred fire. Burn through, let light dissolve, and let light resolve by the action of the sacred fire. The aura of the holy innocence. And now in the place of that substance, there is being built around each one of you a fiery auric emanation and the halo of the saints. And for some among you, all that has ever stood in the way of your having that brilliant fiery aura has been that substance of the astral, Mayic effluvia, that has remained unchallenged and unchecked by your consciousness because you did not know it was there. Although it registered as a burden, you did not know what that burden was, and you could not define it. I will also tell you that mighty Estrella, with the cosmic circle and sword of blue flame, is active in dissolving this substance around the four lower bodies of mankind as you daily make your invocations. And heaven watches with rejoicing to see how some of the more advanced souls of the race have found a new consciousness of light because of your persistent calls to the Elohim of the fourth ray. Fire intensify. Fire surround these hearts. It is a joy to behold the true aura of the Christ in manifestation in the plane of mater. And I am satisfied in the Lord that He has given to me the opportunity to come to you this day and to expand the auric emanation. I would advise you to reread the studies on the human aura by Kuthumi so that you can better understand how to control auric emanations and how to expand the light of the aura to include more and more from among mankind in your own force field and consciousness of God. Thus the initiations begin. And they begin here with you. And if you will pass the initiations of the sacred fire and of the threefold flame in the hours ahead, you will set a mandate before the souls of this entire hemisphere that they too will feel compelled by the soul within to come into alignment with a greater compassion, a greater understanding, and a greater devotion to the will of God. I am Maitreya, servant of the Christ within you all, and I am the cosmic Christ consciousness of God, and I am the Buddhic awareness of Lord Gautama. Humbly I bow before the light within you, that is to be the light of a world to be, of a sun to be, and of a city foursquare that is now appearing on the horizon of being. And ere it makes full circle, that city foursquare will come into manifestation within you, line upon line, precept upon precept, as you pass the initiations of the cosmic Christ. I am with you always, even unto the end of the age of your overcoming.